Hey, I'm Captain Ed Castle, and you're with Woodturning 101, a new series I'm developing to cover all the aspects of woodturning. We're not going to turn projects. We're not going to make doodads or stuff like that. I want to share with you ideas I picked up from other members of worldwidewoodturners.org. Yeah. Hey, Ron, sit down. That's Ron. He's been around since the beginning. He's pulled a chair up front, just like you should. Pull the chair up front and make some notes, because we're going to cover parts and pieces of all your turning, tips and tricks that you have shared with us. So stay tuned, because Woodturning 101 starts right now. Watch. You may not realize this, but one of the most important parts of wood turning is the condition of the equipment you use. Now, the condition of the equipment you use. Sure, you got to maintain parts and parts and parts. Okay, one basic one is the lathe bed. You have to maintain the lathe bed. Now, what do you mean? I clean it up and all that. I got a story to tell you. I went to a wood turning meeting one time, and they rolled this big jet lathe out, and this nice friendly guy got out and started spraying it from top to bottom with this blue and yellow can stuff with a couple of letters and a couple of numbers, and just sprayed and sprayed and sprayed. And then he wiped off what was left on top and said, "Late's clean." Now, did you catch what I said? He put it on the top. Now, a couple of things about that. Number one, that product is not what you should use. That's number one. Number two, if you don't clean it first, what good is it to lube it? And number three, in cleaning it, you can't just do the tops of the bed. You can't. What are you doing? Shining one shoe and not the other? So let's talk about what to do about it. If it's a lathe bed itself, you can steel wool it down to remove corrosion, rust, or whatever might be on there. Just steel wool it down. If you prefer to stand it with like 400 paper. And remember, after a little bit, it'll get clogged and you got to throw it away and start another one. Steel wool, it really is better than that. But also clean, yeah, I got pictures. You'll have this, we do photographs. This is it. Here are your ways. All right, clean the top. But while you clean it, because that's easy, and you can get a monkey to come do that for you. Clean that vertical right there. Okay, you think that's critical? Clean that horizontal underneath. Yeah, why? When you drip or drop something on your lathe, even wood chips and shavings or anything else may have some turpentine in them, when it goes down, where's it go? It goes in here. And what's that when you slide it along? It slides and makes contact up here. So you've got trash on this. You've got trash on this. To clean it properly, those have to be cleaned. Slide the tool rest off the end and roll it over and clean that area, and then clean the side of the bed. And if you've dripped glue and paint and everything else down from your finishing, you'll have to get that off. I use an old paint scraper type thing. I can reach underneath and drag it along and clean it all off. I don't lube it with a fluid lubricant. No. The same thing, I got to tell you, this is the piece I just told you got to clean off. You see it? Well, you want to get this surface. You want to get the verticals. This bottom doesn't matter. If you have a bar system, these two bars represent one. You have the same thing. The keeper slides underneath the bars, goes back and forth. You have a single bar like a Sears or Craftsman. You have one bar, and on that one bar, you have a little dog leg sticking down. You see it? All right. That keeps it from bounce back and forth on a single tube, okay? I get a lot of guys that tell me that's got vibration. Yeah, that little strip is loose. No magic. Change the screws out. The old screws are crummy. So change the screws out. It'll get better. All right, now we're talking about the tool, the lathe bed. Now, we're going to clean all this up and get it all cleaned. Steel wool, the whole thing, and get it down to where it's acceptable to us. Then what do? We don't wax it. We don't oil it. We don't treat it with lemon oil and scotch. No, you don't treat it with anything. You cover it. You cover it with a dry lubricant spray. Dry. I prefer the Boeing T9. Why? I can spray it right here today, and 5 minutes later I can rub my hand all over it and I have no trace of it. It's here as light film, but as oilless film. So if I touch this and I touch the piece of work I'm using, I don't track oil over to it. When you do it with oily products, you can wipe your hand across the lathe bed, come up here and transfer oil from here to here. Some woods don't like that. So I protect the bed with a dry spray. And they're all over the place. And you probably find them at the better tool shops and saw shops. And they'll tell you the same thing. If you lube a saw blade, you're going to regret it. If you dry coat a saw blade, you'll love it. Same thing with lathe bed, table bed, router bed, yada, 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 yada. You want to coat them to protect them, not to lubricate them. Okay, so the lathe bed. Sometimes you miss that. It's very simple. And I like the difference between a fun turn and a lousy turn. Because if when you want to move the tailstock and you break it free and you got to muscle it back, or when you wrestle with the tailstock to get it to move along, you got to clean a little something. Don't spray with oil, just clean it up a little bit. I'm going to clean up my act, get back out, and start making shavings. You've been tuned to Woodturning 101. Stick around, we got a whole lot coming your way.